Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Welcome back to my channel. I have a banger of a headache today, so I'm hoping I can get my energy up and we can have a really decent video. Again, I'd like to thank everybody. I'm this close to 1,000 subscribers, and I believe that I'm gonna get that uh, by this week. So I thank you for that. From the people that have been here from the get. Thank you. For the ones that are just joining, thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like me, but it is the currency of YouTube, and I thank you so much for your subscriptions to my channel, for hitting that bell, because as soon as I put videos up, you guys are right there watching them, and so I appreciate that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today not feeling 100%, because you guys seem to be giving me 100%, and I promised I would do that. So here I am. So we're going to talk about Gypsy because, I caught her in a lie, and I'm sure you guys did too. In the prison confessions of Gypsy Rose, yeah, she lied about a cell phone, because in one breath she said that she was texting that guy Dan, who she ended up running away to. It was unclear if she ran to Arkansas, because this guy was from Arkansas. They were going to be on a farm together, but he was on probation and couldn't leave the state. So did she actually hitchhike from Missouri to Arkansas? Her mom ultimately found her, so I don't believe that she hitchhiked. That I don't know. That's a question. That was a little unclear. Anyway, it didn't work out with Dan because he lived with a roommate, and yeah, she didn't want that. So, and he was also on probation, so or on parole, so she didn't want that either. But supposedly, she said the night that she was texting him and the night that she was going to run away with him, she borrowed her mom's cell phone. But then she said that the reason why her mom found her was because she dropped her cell phone out of her backpack, and her mom found that and then found out how to find her. So I'm going to go ahead and put the two clips that contradict each other, because that was, I caught that right away, and I don't know how many people have caught that, but I'd like to think that a few of us did, right? So, yeah, I want to put that clip up, and then I want to continue talking.
And so we created this plan that I was going to leave home and he was going to take me to his farm in Arkansas.
So one night when my mother was asleep, I stole my mother's cell phone from her purse and I was texting with Dan. And he sent me a text that said, tonight be the night that we run away together. And I was like, okay.
I packed a few costumes because I didn't have real clothes. And I had a blonde wig so no one would recognize me.
I stole my mom's pain pills and I stole cash.
And I left her a runaway note so she wouldn't worry about me. And I told her that I knew that I was 19 and I wanted to live my own life as an independent woman. And I told her that I loved her, that it was just time for me to spread my wings and fly, and I left through the back door.
So that's the first clip I want to show you, but questions there. So she was so articulate that she left her mom a note and said, I know I'm 19 now, Mom, and with all due respect, I'd like to be out on my own and spread my own wings. You think that Gypsy was that articulate? I mean, supposedly her schooling was nil because her mom didn't really teach her, right? So there's a lot of contradiction there, but it gets better because listen to this clip about that same cell phone and let's see who it belongs to. These are the questions. You know what I'm saying? These are the questions.
At that time, I met this guy, Dan, at Vision Con. And he kept telling me, you're an adult and you can leave. And so I ran away. I thought that it was a possibility that he was the one. But he doesn't even have a car. He doesn't even have a place of his own. He's staying at his friend's house. I'm like, okay, this is not what I expected at all. That night, my mother had awoken probably about 4 o'clock in the morning. Noticed that I wasn't there. She then goes to look around the house and my cell phone fell out of my backpack. So she sees the messages between me and Dan, and she instantly knows who I'm with.
So, guys, a lot of questions here. Why does Gypsy have her own cell phone when her mom won't let her out of her sight and they share a Facebook page? So, her mom bought her a cell phone. Gypsy stole a cell phone. And then how do you pay the bill on that cell phone? I don't understand. That's unclear to me. But here's what's clear. Supposedly, Gypsy says, I stole my mom's cell phone and started texting this guy and communicated. And then it was her cell phone that fell out of her backpack that made her mom realize who she was with. Whose cell phone was it? What's the story there? Why is there contradiction? My dog wants to know. Guys, watching that confessional about Gypsy Rose just reinforced how messed up she truly is. She makes a statement that she feels responsible for putting Nick in the situation that she put Nick Godejohn, the guy that's doing life, for supposedly doing away with her mom, which is still so unclear because things that Nick says, I believe, because they've been consistent, where things with Gypsy's friggin' lies all the time. How do we know what to believe when it comes to Gypsy? That woman is a train wreck. She's a train wreck. End of story. She's a train wreck, and she needs a lot more therapy. She needs to account for her responsibilities in the decisions she's made instead of throwing Nick Godejohn under the bus. He committed the crime. He committed the murder. He actually did the murder. But she does call herself a murderer. In the documentary Confessions with Gypsy Rose. I'm telling you, if you watch that video, she does refer to herself as a murderer. Is that a slip of the tongue? Because that's the only time I've ever really heard her call herself that. And that was when she was referring to her marriage with, what's his name? Brian, is it? Who himself might as well have a giant orange caution sign on him because he is not the most secure guy in this relationship. That it's doomed. It is doomed. Watching this, I mean, anybody with any brains in their head would say, wow, like, this is not a relationship I would want to be in myself. This is not a relationship I would want somebody I love to be in. It's not a relationship I would want my son to be in. It's not a relationship I would want my daughter to be in. And, you know, the stepmom, Gypsy's stepmom, and the stepsister or the half-sister, you don't have to get... Why? Why did she get married? Because she really is afraid to be on her own. She's never been on her own. In the meantime, her family had everything set up where she was going to go home to them. That would have been the best bet for her. But there's a reason why she doesn't want to go home to her dad's. You know, and that's because I honestly think she doesn't want to go live with her dad, not because of her dad, but because I think she might be able to still manipulate her dad because he's got a lot of guilt about her childhood and how he feels he wasn't there for her. But I don't think she can manipulate that stepmom of hers, and I think she knows that, And I think that her half sister is smart too, and she can't manipulate her either. So that's why I think she's not going to go home to them, because she's not done manipulating people. Everything with Dee Dee, because Dee Dee's not here. So everything with Dee Dee, as far as, all right, so the Munchausen by proxy, we know that is true. But when was Gypsy's last surgery? What was she so concerned about? Because she said, it'd be surgery after surgery after surgery, and I didn't see an end to it. But when was her last surgery? Because it seemed like the doctors in Missouri were very questioning about things. So did they continue with surgeries after they were questioning things? After the cancer wasn't there? After the muscular dystrophy wasn't there? Because it seems like they did tests to find things out, and there was contradictions. You even have a doctor that said, I called social services. Gypsy remembers social services coming to her house. But then, in a breath, she says, well, isn't it possible that these doctors are lying? Isn't it possible that these doctors are lying? Did these doctors do surgeries on her? Or did these doctors treat her to what her mom said? But they weren't giving her cancer stuff because they found she didn't have cancer. They weren't giving her muscular dystrophy stuff because they found that she didn't. So there were other doctors, clearly, because you can see that doctor said, I never saw these medical records. These medical records, I've never seen them before. I'm going by what the mother told me. And then I even checked stuff out. And there were things that weren't true. I even called social services because I thought maybe there was a kidnapping because things just didn't make sense. So I'm not going to call him a liar. I'm going to call the person that keeps lying the liar, which is Gypsy. Let's listen to this clip.
I wish I could even say that I entertained the diagnosis of Munchausen's by proxy and dismissed it. But it didn't enter into my brain.
I hold a lot of complicated emotions for a lot of people that could have said something but didn't. Can I be perfectly honest? How do we know that these doctors aren't saying all this of these accounts of them doing all the right things by me, but I don't recall any of it? Am I lying? Or is it that they're just trying to cover their own asses?
If you could say anything to Gypsy today, what would it be?
But Gypsy could have gotten up and she could have said, I can walk. I can walk. I mean, what I'm trying to understand is, how does she go and do the boldest things? Hitchhike in the middle of the night, run away to somebody that she doesn't even know, but yet can't look at a doctor that has seen her over and over again and just say, I could walk. One of the doctors said she stood up. Gypsy says, I don't remember that. Gypsy says she doesn't remember what these doctors have said, what this doctor has said, but she remembered social services coming over. He said he called social services. So am I supposed to believe that we are supposed to just believe Gypsy and everybody else is telling an untruth? In the meantime, Gypsy has been caught in one lie after another lie after another lie, and it's been recent, because if you watch the confessions, the prison confessions of Gypsy, she lies to the husband, to where he even says, you're an effing liar. That's only a few months old. So what has she learned in prison? Because I keep hearing that she only wants to put her best foot forward to the prison officials so that she was granted her parole, right? So it still doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, there's a quote, everything I'm doing now is all about my parole. Doesn't say it's true. She doesn't say, I'm being honest, it's true. Everything about her is questionable. I have a bunch of notes here. She says she will be crushed if she doesn't get out of jail 2.5 years before she's supposed to originally get out of jail. What about Nick? What about Nick, who's sitting there doing lifetime? Nick, who lost his mom. Nick seems like he was so manipulated. I'm not saying the guy doesn't deserve to do time, but he is not the monster that I think Gypsy has made him out to be. I think she totally manipulated this guy. She claims that her mom blamed her for her dad leaving, right? Because she wasn't the son that her dad wanted. Do we know that to be true, or are we, again, buying into Gypsy's bullshit? Because that's what I think it is. There's just so much here. I want to know when the last surgery was and who the doctor was, because that was one of the reasons why she said she had to do away with her mom. Don't tell me she didn't know the law. She knew things. She knew what she wanted to know. Whatever was convenient for her, she knew what she wanted to know. And so I feel like she manipulated the whole wide world. Again, I'm just going to say that. Why was it the only way to get out of the situation was to have her mom killed? Gypsy, no doubt, was very, very angry. But was Gypsy really tied up to in a dog leash? These are the things that I doubt. These are the things that I'm not believing. I'm not believing this kind of abuse. I believe the Munchausen, but I do not believe this kind of abuse. Especially as her mom was sickly. Her mom had diabetes, depended on Dee Dee. Dee Dee at this point is young and very healthy, as we know. So Gypsy could have just left. Gypsy could have left. I also have a huge problem with the contradiction between Gypsy and her fairy dresses and Gypsy and her promiscuity. Like, there is a huge gap there. Where do those two meet? Where do those two meet? The abuse by her grandpa says, no, I don't know. Some of you have said, how would a young kid know? Well, if something happened before, who's to say nothing happened before? Again, conveniently, Gypsy remembers what she wants to remember. That doesn't make sense. You know, this is all hearsay. We don't know that that's what Dee Dee said about her own dad. We don't know that. We're going again by somebody that's a pathological liar. Gypsy said rationally, like in that message, that yeah, it's time for me to spread my wings. I know that I'm really older than you said, Mom, and I love you, but it's time for me to just spread my wings and leave. To then what? To then having her mom killed. And she's saying because her mom physically abused her. That's the problem that I'm having. I don't believe that. I don't. Here's another thing that I got a huge question about. So Gypsy says that she was addicted to pain pills. So Gypsy brings up this drug addiction that she had to pain pills. And but she never told anybody about it. She said that she was up to taking like 3 or 4 at one time, right? So, yes, her mother would have been, where's my pain medicine? And that prescription would have had to have been filled a few times if she truly had an addiction to it. And when she got arrested and got put in jail, she would have had to have gone through horrible DTs if she was taking 3 or 4 Vicodin at one time. And she said that she was in jail and she bought a bunch of pills for $50. No. Pills aren't cheap in jail. They're not cheap in jail at all. You think you're getting pills for $5 a pop in jail? No, 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 no. Supply and demand. There's a lot of demand and little supply. So think about how much. If she's getting pain pills in jail, she might be getting maybe 4 or 5 pain pills for $50, maybe. And that's at a discount. So what happened with this addiction? How come there was no physicality to this addiction? Again, I just don't understand. It's not making sense to me. It doesn't make sense. An addiction at 3 or 4 Vicodin at a time, you're going to go through severe withdrawals. When did that happen? When were the prescriptions filled over and over again? So that, I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me. So I call bullshit there. I'm not sure why she's lying, except to say she might not have been in the right frame of mind because of the pain pills. I really. And by the way, she said Suboxone, right? Suboxone is really friggin' expensive. So how much Suboxone did she get in jail for $50? 1 pill? 1 little tab? I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. Again, it just doesn't make sense. So guys, I hopefully have brought up some questions to you that make you also question the situation. And maybe I pointed out some things to you that maybe you didn't see before. Maybe I'm completely wrong and you guys will tell me so. I'm sure you will if that's the case. Guys, I got a banger of a headache. I do want to do a video on Nick Godejohn and talk a little bit about his life and stuff like that. So I will get to that. There's another Scientology video that I'm working on, but I'm just not feeling 100%. So thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Again, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you again for allowing me to be part of your day. We're going to continue on with the Gypsy Rose Blanchard mysteries. Let's be plural about that. And yeah, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. This is Toddy One Skip. Don't forget, be better today than you were yesterday, but not half as good as you're going to be tomorrow. Thanks, guys.